Hi, I'm Phil Hellman, MD of Paradox Health Direct Primary Care, and I'm here with my good friend and patient, Carl Saz, the owner of Verde Capital Management. Uh, Carl has signed up his employees with my clinic, so they all have memberships, and we're here to talk a little bit about what healthcare was like for Carl and his family before Paradox Health, and then after signing up with Paradox Health. So, Carl, if you'd kindly tell us some of your story, that'd be great.
Sure. So we got Paradox Health, I'd say probably about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And my story is really, I didn't really go to the doctor much before that. I have a wife and 3 kids who go to the doctor a lot, it seems like, but I never really went. My visits to the doctor were much more, I would get sick, I would get a cold. I have a pretty weak upper respiratory system or whatever it is, because my colds often turn into bronchitis. And then it was usually, well, this is bronchitis. I need to find an urgent care clinic to get into, and they can't see me for a while, so I would try to get into the clinic that I would go to before, schedule something out a couple of days later. I'd have to miss work for it. By the time I got there, I'm waiting in the room for half an hour to an hour after my appointment time was set, which would drive me nuts. Finally, when I did see the doctor, they would tell me, "Yep, you have bronchitis, but now it's turned into pneumonia because it's been a week since this all started." So I'm getting the steroid shot in the butt. I'm getting like the really high dose of antibiotics. I'm missing 2 to 3 hours of work, and a 10-day dose of a really strong antibiotic. At the end of the day, it costs me, a couple $100. The prescription's a much higher dosage, and it's something that I get almost every single year because I have germy little kids that come home with all kinds of things, right? And so that's what my experience was like before Paradox Health. Once we got Paradox Health, I remember, one night, I'm just sitting at home, and this cold just won't go away. I'm getting a cough, and I call Dr. Phil on the phone, and immediately he picks up the phone, which was like shocking. And then he says, "Oh, I can totally tell, from your voice, that something's up." And I said, and I historically get bronchitis from colds, and he says, "Well, let me look at your chart," which he was able to pull up right away. And this is, like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. This is not like business hours, right? And so he looked at that. He said, I think I know what this is. I'm going to prescribe you amoxicillin, I think it was, which is a $4 antibiotic at Rite Aid, which, he was even able to say, I know you live in Ortonville, that Rite Aid's kind of the closest pharmacy to you. He asked me for my birthday, I think, or something like that. And from there, we hung up, and I got a text message about 3 minutes later telling me that the prescription had been called in. My wife was on her way back home from work, was able to pick it up on the way home, and 10 days later I was done. So I went from the horrible experience of having to wait in an emergency room and getting the steroid shot in the butt and costing a couple $100 to I had something. I talked to my doctor over the phone. He understood my needs and was able to prescribe me something that was relatively inexpensive, $4, and 10 days later I was cured and didn't have to miss work, didn't have to subject myself to a bunch of germs sitting in an emergency room, waiting room, and it was night and day. So for me, that was worth every penny that I paid at Paradox to get that. I feel like it's concierge medicine. It's better than what I had before.
Appreciate you telling your story, Carl.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, if you're interested in a relationship with your physician, and you're interested in that relationship, being able to take care of your illnesses in a time-sensitive manner and in a cost-effective manner, then Paradox Health, really could be a great answer for you or your company, your employees. So Carl's experienced that firsthand, and just give me a call or go to my website for more information. Thanks.